My name is Bob Tofoya. I was born on October 10th, 1932 in La Junta, Colorado, during the Great Depression. I was the fourth out of 10 children in my family. We were all raised with both our parents. My father's name was Salomon Tofoya, and my mother's name was Domitilla Tofoya. My mother would always tell me, I remember this clearly, Vaya la porra, and I think that really meant something like go to hell, for some reason or another, or go out and get out of here. My father helped us to get through the Great Depression at that time. He was an interpreter for the people who worked on the railroads from Santa Fe, New Mexico to La Junta, Colorado. When I was only 5 years old, I helped my family by selling newspapers. I was so little that they told me that when somebody asked me how much the paper was, I was supposed to say 5 cents. And when they asked me my name, I was supposed to say Bobby. And so very often I'd go in, they tell me this story, my brothers and sisters, that I would go in and they would say, how much? And I would say Bobby. And they would say, what's your name? And I would say 5 cents. During World War II, my father moved us to Richmond, California, where everyone was moving to work in the shipyards. Because families were large and fathers were off to war, teenagers didn't care about going to school, and we only went half a day. After the war, we moved to Santa Clara. There I had my first real opportunity to go to school, but at first I didn't care so much because I got 4 Fs right away, and my first report card. Then I met Mrs. Nickram in the 8th grade. She made me work hard, made me recite poetry. She really took an interest in me. I remember a poem called Big Irish Cop that I did with an Irish brogue. She had me go to the high school and perform in front of the whole school. She made me really believe in myself. And then after that, those first 4 Fs that I got, my next report card, I was almost on the honor roll. Because, boy, she made me work. And that's the one, that's why I tell you, that's the one thing that I look back on when I say, and I always look back on that, I thought, man, if I could do that, I can do anything. That's how important that was for me. I continued on to Santa Clara High School and graduated in 1950. At this time, the Korean War had just started, and 3 of my friends and I joined the Marine Corps. While in the Marines, I was sent to Japan, where I worked in communications. I moved back to California after the war and eventually went back to school. I was an all-American athlete in boxing and track while attending San Jose State University. I was the United States amateur boxing champion in 1958. This was also the year that I graduated from college and also got married. In 1959, I was hired to teach math and science in Sacramento, California. Sacramento was too hot for me because I was from the Bay Area and didn't know it was that hot in Sacramento. So we moved to Los Angeles, where I taught history for the next 13 years. In 1968, when things were getting really bad in the country, I was pulled out of the classroom because I got along so well with the Mexican kids. The gangs were taking over the school, and I was told to start a program to keep the gang violence from erupting in the school. The program was called Expanded Horizons, but I really didn't have a clue as to how to start or what to do. Before this program, less than 0.5% of Latinos continued on to college, with many more not even finishing high school. I worked closely with the EOP programs from the local universities, and I worked with the students' mothers. The mothers were called Las Entremetidas because they were always in everything. We all learned together how to help the kids. They were excited because they now had a voice in the school. We were with the students out in their homes and on the streets. We were able to reduce the violence and increase the number of Latinos going to college. In 1972, the school received a presidential accommodation for helping reduce the violence in the schools from President Nixon administration. After just 6 years, we saw the number of Latinos going off to college climb to 58% of the population. Though this was very rewarding, but it was also at an expense. My health and my marriage. I was burned out, and during the summer of 1974, I sent my resume all over the state, and I was offered a job in Sacramento as a vice principal at Will C. Wood Junior High. In Sacramento, I have worked in a variety of schools. My greatest accomplishment has been the creation of the conflict management program. I created this program using what I had learned from working with the gangs in LA. The goal was to get student leaders to act as third-party facilitators in conflicts that arise between students. The program has been highly successful and has been adopted at all grade levels for its positive impact in reducing student conflict. Eventually, I ended up speaking at the University of Essex in London, and I spoke at the University of Zurich in Zurich, Switzerland. I trained the whole city of Edmonton, Canada, the whole city of Edmonton, Canada, on this concept and the techniques of how to deal with conflicts in that case, wherever it was, the teacher. So it really grew and was very good for me. I will work with kids part-time at Hiram Johnson School, helping them to stay out of trouble and to continue on to college, because education is the key to the future. Van a trabajar toda la vida y cuando acaben no van a tener nada. Y por eso es tan importante que uno tenga educación, porque con educación todo el tiempo van a tener trabajo y hacer mejor dinero que otros y vivir mejor. Y también con educación pueden entenderlos, cuando pueden leer libros y papeles y televisión y todo, y van a entender más. Por eso es tan importante que tengan educación.